Despite there not being an actual update today, Embark did quietly push out a server update to the Blueprint loot pool in Ark Raiders. We have some proof now that the Bobcat is finally spawning in trials. Yes, you can now get the Bobcat blueprint as a trial reward. Now, to prove that this has happened since the latest update, here's some proof, here's some evidence from all of my viewers, everyone that's shared their messages. Thank you so much for helping me and the community track new blueprint updates. The devs aren't telling us when new blueprints are added, but it's likely every week we could see some blueprint loot pool changes or trial loot pool changes. With the Hidden Bunker event gone now, and Locked Gate gone currently as well, there is no real way to get the rarer blueprints until today. The Bobcat blueprint never dropped in trials before. There was no proof of it online, and I guess if it did drop, it must have been so rare that nobody posted about it. Now though, since the update, I've seen dozens upon dozens of posts online, including in my DMs and all over social media. So if you haven't done your trials yet, now's the time to try and get that glorious Bobcat blueprint. I've also done some testing today to find out about blueprint drop rates, and I want to say that I don't have concrete data yet, but I have started to collect data on every single container I open across all map conditions, all events, every area of the map. Eventually, I'm going to pinpoint exactly where blueprints drop, the best maps for it, the best locations, everything. It is coming. Stay tuned. Currently, I've opened a total of 823 containers that have been tracked, and I'm going to go all of the way to 10,000 to figure out exactly what we need to know about these blueprints. Now, what's interesting is I'm going to gather all of the data myself, so there's no variables involved. I'll track every container I open, so we can learn about the true drop rates. For a bit of a sneak peek into this information, and bear in mind, there's not enough data samples yet to get a good number, okay? But out of these 823 containers opened, I found a grand total of 13 blueprints. So, what can we gather from that information? Well, the drop rate for blueprints is likely to be around the 1 to 2% range. What that means is every time you open a container, you're going to have maybe a 1 to 2% chance of getting a blueprint. We don't know the exact drop rate yet. We also don't know if specific containers or areas of the map change those rates. I don't have enough data yet. But like I say, I'm going to build up this data and get the answers everybody wants to know. So subscribe if you want to see that. I did an equal number of raids across Storm, Night, and Day. In total, I did 5 day raids, I did 7 night raids, and 5 storm raids. There was a couple really bad night raids, so I decided to run them again. Across those data samples, you might be interested to see which one had the best drop rate between Storm, Night, and Day. Well, once again, be very, very careful with this data. There is not enough samples yet to kind of go into the details here. But I did get a 2.4% drop rate of blueprints on Storm events. I looted 249 containers and got 6 on Storm. For night raids, I looted a total of 246 containers and I got a total of 3 blueprints. That would give us a 1.2% drop rate. You can see the issue here, right? We don't have enough data, but I think it was interesting to see where the blueprints dropped. And for day raids, I also did a total of 328 containers opened. And from that, I got 4 blueprints. Weirdly enough, that gave me a 1.2% drop rate as well. That's kind of creepy in a way. Both night and day dropped the same amount of blueprints, and Storm dropped double the amount of day and night. But don't get too excited yet. We don't have enough data. Please understand that. I'm not stating as fact that one is better than the other. I'm just showing what I've found so far. I will keep searching and getting these answers out there for you, though. And if you're wondering if there were any other blueprints added to the loot pool today, I haven't seen any posts about the deadline or the trailblazer grenade or anything like that. And in terms of the blueprints I found myself, well, out of the 13 total blueprints, I found mostly attachment blueprints, which is quite nice. I did find a couple rare weapons, the Torrente and the Anvil, a snap hook, traditionally, on Storm. Yes, we found it there, and a bunch of others across different areas of the map. Throughout my testing, I would do the same strategy across all maps. I would load in, loot everything in my path as I ran as quickly as possible to the most loot density area, right? The popular spots, whether it's testing annex, research and administration, Buried City Plaza Rosa, Spaceport departures and arrival building. You get the picture, right? The most popular spots, that's what I went for. I tried to spread my time across as many maps as possible, and I also put a bit of time into Stellamontis, found no blueprints there, interestingly. But mostly this data is just not enough. We don't have enough data yet to really say anything for sure. But I will say, I got very lucky today. Did you get lucky with your blueprints today? I wonder if the devs will ever update the blueprint drop rate in-game at all. We know that every week there seems to be silent nerfs or buffs to the blueprint loot pool. They keep adding and changing blueprints. For example, the Tempest blueprint never really dropped, and then suddenly on a random Thursday, it started dropping in night raids very, very often. Well, not for me, I haven't found it yet, after millions of years of searching. Anyway, that was Daft Batman coming out. The point I'm trying to make is, it's always good to see what might happen every Thursday. Blueprint changes are happening, even if the devs don't say anything about it. So if you do notice any new blueprints or anything that seems a little out of the ordinary, please message me and we can try to track any changes, because the devs like to keep it a secret. I also thought I'd drop a couple tips on how I've been finding blueprints more consistently. Now, what's interesting about this data today is that I've realized something. It's not necessarily about which map condition lets me find the blueprint quicker. It's more about which map condition allows me to loot more without getting attacked by PvPers or without running into a building and finding out it's been looted already. We've got a supply and demand issue for loot in this game. If everyone online says Buried City night raids are great for finding blueprints, guess what? Everybody will go there and they'll spend their time looting there, which means when we go in to Buried City night raids now, once everybody's figured out it's a great place to get blueprints, it's hard to loot anything. You check every building and it's looted within minutes of starting the match, because that's what everybody's doing on Buried City night raids. What I found to be a more successful way to get more blueprints in Arc Raiders right now is look at the map conditions that are currently in game and try to understand what the player behavior might be in that condition. Are they going to go into that map likely to spend time looting, or do they have another goal? For example, now that Hidden Bunker has gone away, a lot of people are farming their trials in Electromagnetic Storm. And I found that I'm able to loot a lot of containers in the Storm event fairly freely because not many people are looting. And as expected, when I've tried Buried City night raids, I just get so many PvPers, and when I have managed to deal with those, most of the other loot spots have been looted. Another quick tip for this kind of thinking is, if the Lush Bloom event is active, for example, a lot of people will be spending time getting the baskets to up their money value for the expedition, which means you can pretty much loot the map for free. The point I'm trying to make is look at the map conditions available as you play a game and think about which one's more likely to give you more lootable containers for the time that you can play Arc Raiders. Because even if the loot rate for blueprints is double on night raids or even triple on storm rates or whatever the rates may end up being, you're not going to be able to loot as many containers on this mode. So keep that in mind when you next choose which raid you want to play if you're trying to blueprint farm. Thank you for watching, my friends. I'll see you all in the comments. Cheerio.